Hello, travel biz owner. Welcome to my corner of the travel industry, the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Podcast. If you're ready to have fun, be inspired, get clarity, and take action in your travel business, then you're in the right place. Let's jump in. Hello, friend. Welcome back to the podcast. So nice to have you here. I think it's December 15th. Hold on, let me check yes, today is December 15th. I am currently still sailing in the Mediterranean. And just wanted to say a quick hello, future shout out to you from past me who's recording this. If you didn't know, today is your last Friday to pre-register for free for the Unique Holiday Experiences audio series. I am so stinking excited. I think it's very different from the other audio series that I put on this year between travel tech and ascending in your business and celebrating Hispanic heritage. I think it's a little bit of fun when we talk about holidays and experiences, and it's also a little bit of business because we are learning a lot about different destinations around the world that could be a really great fit for your clients during the holiday season. And I love the plethora. Like, we're going all the way up north, we're going south, east, west, and everywhere in between. We're talking about land, we're talking about ships. So make sure that you head over to Travel Biz Training to get your free pre-registration ticket and to secure your spot to listen to Margie Jordan, Tom Carpenter, Danella Richard, Jonathan McKee, Cheryl Rosen, and Renata West. A huge, amazing lineup that I cannot wait to bring this live to you. So without further ado, let's get into the episode. And I don't know about you, but I stopped doing resolutions a while ago. And to be quite honest, I started doing words of the year and I didn't really pay attention too much to them until I think it was really last year. And so my words for 2023, I initially started off, I think my initial word may have been exposure. I'm not really certain. And then I added ease because I wanted things to be easy. I didn't want them to be hard. And I'm not saying that I've had an easy year, but I think I've had an easier year because I have really leaned in on my words of the year, being ease and exposure. I think some things have been a little bit easier because I've been really leaning in on things that I enjoy, like collaborations and collaborative events. Like, I don't want to give too much of an overview as we'll be doing that in the last episode of the year, so stay tuned to that. But I think because I set those intentions, and I talked about this in the Plan Your Year session, whenever I make decisions pertaining to my business, I always think back, and this year very heavily was thinking back to the words that I selected for the year. So if it wasn't going to make things easy for me, and if it wasn't going to give me exposure, is that something that I really needed to invest my time, money, or energy in this year? And I think for a lot of people, especially in the Plan Your Year session, like, that was a big eye-opener, especially like when you're thinking of goals, because that's what my words of the year really are for. They're for the big goals that I have, and they're getting me to the next level of business that I want to be at. So when I was thinking about 2023, I wanted things to be easier, and I needed to not be a secret. I know that I provide such amazing value and insights as I am right there doing the work with you. It may not necessarily be that I have a travel business at the forefront, but it is really uplifting this travel industry, bringing you quality education and quality resources that I wish I had had when I was first starting and attempting to build my travel business. And the only way that I can bring these resources and bring the education out to people is if I'm exposed to more people. You know, I always talk about meet, connect, and convert. And at that, the very beginning is meet. So how am I going to meet people? And so you know that I have been hosting so many collaborative events this year, and I have been a part of different collaborative events, including, you know, Host Week earlier this year, and then the audio series, and then Prep for Wave Week. Collaboration is a huge thread for me, and it's very much because while, yes, I have expertise, I have experience, I have knowledge, I have gone through my own personal and professional things, I also know I am not the be-all, end-all expert. And there are other amazing people both inside of this industry and outside of this industry that I feel like you should learn from. And I feel like you should also know. And so that's why, like, when I'm thinking about the exposure that I want and how easy I want to make it, like, that's where collaborative events kind of like overlapped, that it was easy for me and it gave me exposure. So a lot of the things that I invested in and kind of put time in to kind of make things easy was project management tools and templates and things, just to cut down on the time and make the process easier of everything. So I would say this was probably the year that I kept those words of the year at the forefront. And so when I think about selecting a word and how you can select a word for your year next year, and I'm like, maybe it is two intersections for you. Like, there's two words of the year. And that's kind of like what I'm thinking about for mine. Like, I don't necessarily know that I have my two words solidified, but I know kind of like the direction, and I know what I want to continue doing and how I want to adapt for next year. So when I'm personally thinking about selecting a word of the year so that I can have it as a focal point and make better strategic decisions for my business, I think about what are my goals and what is the next step. Like, what are things that I want to focus on to get even better or do better at, or to improve things. Because as a business owner, discoverability is great, but you have to maintain that relationship. The exposure is great, but you have to maintain that relationship. So for me, like, what is the next iteration? But also taking a think on and look at is that you can't stop being found. You have to consistently be found. Like a couple episodes ago when I was interviewing Liz Wilcox about email marketing, you have to constantly be building your email list, the people that are in your ecosystem. And yes, you can have that done through referrals, but you can't have referrals unless you're building a really great client experience for the people that you're serving. So how can you improve upon that? And then also communicate to them if you have some sort of referral program and all that. Similarly, like, you just can't stop talking to people, because again, the more people that know you, the more people that there are to refer you, and the more business that you're able to get from people who want to work with you. So it is a constant. It's not that it's going away. It's maybe that things are shifting, or that things are becoming a little clearer. So for you, and I know I've discussed this with a lot of people, thriving in 2024 is becoming a huge top potential. You may be a travel business owner who has been at this for a couple of years and still hasn't figured it out. And that's okay. That's okay. But what is not okay is to not be taking any action, and taking any different action to get you in a different place to see different results. And so those are the things that I need you to think about when you're selecting your word of the year, and how you want 2024 to look like. If you are sick of surviving, then you might want to use like the word thrive. If you have been overwhelmed, And you want to take it a little bit easier. I know somebody selected the word coast because they just want things to be coasting. They've got family changes that are happening next year. There's a new baby being added. And so they just want it to be an easy year. They don't have to make big goals or anything like that. So what does 2024 look like and feel like for you? Do you just want to be able to obtain your yearly income goal? Do you want to crush your yearly income goal? Do you want to be meeting a lot of people and building your email list and building your network so that when you announce the next big trip, you automatically have people signing up for it right off the bat? Is it that your systems are absolute chaos and you need to get organized next year because you want to have smoother operations and you want to be able to hire someone without having to intensely train them and all that as well? So there's different things. And this is why I'm like, I'm not certain yet what I want my words to be. I know for sure, I will say one of my words. So my focuses for 2024 is to really build a community. And so I think one of my words is going to be community. That one I have been thinking a lot about recently. And how can, now that so many of you are in my world, how can we come together and discuss issues together, and how can we mutually help each other out and build like a really tight-knit community within the industry that creates positive impact and positive change, especially with regards to diversity, equity, and inclusion in this industry. And how can we continue to bring like really great quality education? Because this is not just me with the people that I'm serving, but this is also me with my peers. How can we all work together next year in 2024 to really bring positive change and impact to the industry? And then also, how can I communicate and connect with you on a more deeper and personal level so we can have that deeper personal relationship? That is like relationships. So if you haven't heard my story before, I refused to do networking for very, very long because I thought it was a sleazy thing. And quite frankly, I was also very nervous and it intimidated me. And it's funny now because I've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of like inner work, looking at astrology things, working with astrologists, also working like with strengths coaches. And relationship building is one of my strengths. And I didn't know that until a few years ago. And when I really started exercising that muscle, I was like, oh my gosh, like I have been stunting my own growth and I didn't know it. So, and now I'm kind of like, oh, well, shoot, where did I go with that? But I think it kind of relates to community and me desiring an amazing community of people who are also goal winners and goal smashers and goal getters and who are willing to, despite the fear, take imperfect action and do it anyways because they know that there's going to be an incredible result at the other side of the rainbow. And so I'm not sure like where you are at your journey and where you are within your niche. Maybe it is that you're trying to focus on a niche, that you're trying to streamline things within your business. There's just so many different focuses that you can have, but what are you really wanting to attain and exude? Because I could say, profits. I want one of my words to be profits next year. I think all of us want profit to be something that's of the main focus. But can you profit because you're doing something else in your business that leads to profits? And so really investing in people is at the forefront And I know that I do a lot, but how can I do better or different is kind of like also things that I think about with community. The other word that is coming to me and kind of seems like it fits with the travel industry is discoverability. So, meaning that so exposure, like I got tons of exposure. I don't want to let go exposure. And I don't think I'm ready just yet. I'm not in a position just yet to kind of like let go of that hustle type thought. And this is not like also like a proponent. I'm not saying like you should hustle, but I feel, and I've said this for a couple of years now, but I really feel it because I can see it in the data. I can see it in the numbers, the changes, that I'm on the precipice of like some really, really great stuff. And so while I don't want to be discovered less or have less exposure, I do want to have a little bit more balance in my life. And that means I did a very ambitious 4 audio series this year. I've already decided I'm only going to do 2 audio series next year because I think one of my focuses is really going to be on discoverability and being found through search engine optimization. And so that is on my website, but that is also on blog posts. And I also think of like the intentionality of this, because not only is it being able to be discovered where people are searching, which could be a podcast platform, it could be on YouTube, it could be just on Google, but it's being able to maximize how people are finding me. So making sure that I'm providing value, that I'm entering them into some sort of sales funnel where it could be like you get added to a lead magnet so I can send you emails and then I can start selling you through my emails, or I can start offering you things through links, and this could be affiliate links, or this can be other types of programs or things that I have. And so I think, especially like when I think about my travel business and kind of like as I've eased back a little bit on the travel business side to lean heavily more into the mentorship side, I don't want to completely close the doors to my travel business. So how can I keep it alive a little bit and generate some revenue and generate some income, especially with things like making blog posts and adding affiliate type links. So I believe it was Alma Waterways just actually announced, I'm recording this on November 28th, and Alma Waterways just announced that with the co-branded website link, people are actually going to be able to book direct, and I'll be able to make my full commission off of that. So how can I create more blog posts that people can find organically on Google so that they can find me, and then if they wanted to, just go ahead and book their cruise on their own, or they can hire me for full-on travel advisor services. Similarly, Virgin Voyages has something like that. And then similarly, I'm thinking about like Project Expedition, where I can add tour links, and people, like if they book a tour, I get credit, I get commission for that. So really, I want to be working a little bit smarter, not necessarily harder, because I worked really hard this year. And so that's why I think that my second word might be discover or discovery, because I want to be found, and I want to be found still like with the collaborative events, but I also want to organically be found wherever, on whatever search platforms that one, people are searching on, and 2, that I want to be found on. Because I know Pinterest might be an option, but I don't really feel like pinning. I would much rather create blog posts and add affiliate links on there, and like really optimize keywords in my podcast so people can find the podcast, get the chunk full of value that I offer in the podcast, and then want to find out different ways that they can work with me and get more like amazing content that I provide. So that's kind of like an insight into my brain and what I'm thinking are my words of the year. let me know. Let's start a chat. Let's start a discussion over in the Strategic Travel Entrepreneur Facebook group. When you're thinking about your words of the year, what is coming up for you? I giggle because I'm thinking about some of the words that came up in the Plan Your Year session. And the word no was a heavily prevalent one of, I feel like a lot of the big themes that I've noticed are, one, of course, profitability, thriving, but also putting boundaries up, not wanting to be taken advantage of in the new year. That I think a lot of people in the past couple of years, because of everything that happened with the pandemic, kind of like let a couple things slide or let them go because you needed the income. And I think people are now noticing in 2023, they're like, oh no, we're not gonna do that anymore. We're gonna change it. So it is just like this big empowerment movement that I see happening in 2024, especially in the travel industry, for you really taking in and honing in. And it's not just, or maybe it is empowerment and confidence and being brave and doing the brave thing. So that you can have a better quality life and the life that you've dreamed of. Because this, of course, is your own business. Like, no one is making up the rules but yourself. Now, there are legal stipulations and insurance and agreements and contracts and things like that you might have to really follow and all that. But you can do whatever you want within your business, within all those parameters. So you get to decide who you work with, the trips that you sell, kind of like I mentioned in a couple episodes back. So when you're thinking of 2024, what do you want your life to look like? And it just doesn't have to be focused on your business. Like, what do you want to feel like? What do you want to bring in? What do you want to call in? Just think about all the different things, and then for sure share with me what your words of 2024 will be once you've got them. All right, I will see you next time. Thanks for joining me on the podcast today. Remember to check out the show notes for all relevant links and resources from today's show. See you next time.